Our next speaker, Dr. George J. McKenna III, has led a long and storied career in education. Today, he is the highly respected Vice President of the LAUSD Board of Education, but that's just one in a list of accomplishments. He's received national acclaim for his transformative work at Washington Preparatory Senior High School and his leadership in the former Local District 7, which encompassed this very area. Creating college pathways is an ongoing focus for him, and today he joins us as we embark on another ambitious project. Dr. George J. McKenna III.
Thank you. First of all, to Dr. Carlisle and Dr. Michael, this institution has been here for a while. I became interested in Watts when I came from New Orleans, Louisiana, segregated schools, historically black college, graduate in math, science, physics, then went to Chicago to get another degree from Loyola University. And working at Jordan High during the riots, I realized that the creation of this building came from an extreme sense of advocacy and urgency because the community had an uprising. The question I've always asked myself, had we not had an uprising, which was triggered by a police overreaction to a single person, would this place be here? And if it were not here, why wasn't it here? And now that it's here, and it's been here for quite some time, it takes the vision of people who work in it to create what we have today, a commitment. A commitment that provides hope and access to the young people who are here. And I have something for you young people. I'm going to talk about the adults first. Coming from segregated schools, I didn't have many opportunities. I could only go to one of 4 universities in Louisiana. It was Xavier or Dillard in New Orleans, and then Grambling and Southern. That was it. All those other places that now admit us because they saw that athletics was important for them to be competitive with Grambling and Southern and Florida A&M. So sometimes profit also provides an opportunity for the indigenous community and the overlooked community and the oppressed community riding in the back of segregated buses. I knew I wasn't advantaged, but it didn't stop me from being well educated. And so this commitment that Charles Drew University is making comes from the vision of the people who run the institution, not the buildings. The buildings will be here, but it's the people who run it that make that commitment from their heart, from their intellect, from their experience, from knowing that these young people are our hope for the future. Now, I'm a wealthy man. I'm wealthy because as a teacher, I count my return on my investment as the young people that I have touched in their lives. A few of them are here today. The principal of King Drew Medical Magnet is here. His name is Reggie Brookins. Reggie, I know you're here somewhere. The heck are you? Would you stand up, please? He's the principal of King Drew Medical Magnet. Thank you. Now, Reggie was a student at Washington Prep when I was the principal. So I have to take pride in him. I don't take credit for him. I take pride in him because many students didn't want to come. The principal of Dorsey High School is a Washington High School graduate. The principal of Washington High right now, Prep, is a Washington High graduate. And one of my proudest moments, which is very personal to me, I attended my first and only medical school graduation here. I think it was in the 1990s. And I watched a student from Washington Prep named Anita Francis, whose father was a community activist. Wasn't a very special man to other people, but to us, he was an activist. Didn't have any money, didn't have anything. But he sent her to Washington High and said, I want to put her on a bus, but since you're here, George, I'll send her there. And she felt safe. She graduated from Washington, went to university, I don't know where she went, came here and walked across the stage as a medical doctor, right from here. And Dr. Michael looked her up on the internet and said she's practicing in Atlanta somewhere. I didn't know where she was. I lost track of. I think she's in OBGYN, I don't know. But to show that the progress that can be made by establishing hope, access, opportunity for young people, you can do it too. Now, for the young people, this commitment that we've made on your behalf is not just because you're special. It's not just because you're looking good, because you always look good when you're a teenager. I did too. a long time ago, right? Back then, looking good was important. Now today, feeling good is more important for those of us on this side of the line, right? But you need to know, it's not a freebie for you. You've got to earn this. You got to get a 3.0 GPA. I don't say I'm close. I'm almost. You're not almost anything. Dr. Duenas is here. She was also at Washington Prep as one of my teachers. And she works very hard to make sure that you get your access to. I could call a lot of names here. But we want to be able to see you as a special group. Now, you were asked to come here because your principals thought you belonged here. They didn't ask you to come here just because you're hungry and you need a meal. You're hungry anyway. You're a teenager. You don't know when you're not hungry, right? After you eat, you're still hungry. When you go home, the first thing you say is, what's to eat? Right? You're growing every day. You eat 4 times, 5 times a day, and you're still hungry in the middle of the night. You still want to eat. That's not why you're here. You're here to get fed some hope and opportunity. So you know that these people did this on your behalf. There is no reason for you not to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, you may have to struggle a bit because it's not going to be easy. All of us have to struggle. I struggle every day. I get to my office at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm old enough to be your grandfather. Earl Perkins does the same thing. Early in the morning. We're here before you even wake up. You're still getting that teenage sleep, right? And fussing about, do I have to get up? Yes, you do. Another day? Yes, you do, right? And what you need to put away, it's a piece of advice for you teenagers. I know how you are. I've been one. You've never been on this side. Your major obstacle is the P word, procrastination. You know how to put stuff off. You got a paper due. You knew about it 3 weeks ago. When do you start? Sunday night, because it's due Monday morning. I know about that. That's not what you can do. Not if you want to get into this prestigious university. And you want to be excellent, because if you think about going into the medical field, who would want treatment from someone other than an excellent professional? Why would you want a halfway a student to be operating on you, or to be your nurse, or to be your physician, or to be your x-ray technician? You don't want anybody other than the best. And you are here today because we think you're the best. So you have to believe in yourselves. I thank the university. I thank Dr. Carlisle for his commitment. I thank Dr. Michael and all the other people who had something to do with this, to give our students a hand. And to know that this could have been done earlier had somebody had the vision to think about it. Because it's not going to cost us a whole lot. It's just saying to you, here's a line, catch a hold of it. Don't complain, just grab a hold of it. Let us pull you in. And when you get here, pull somebody else along with you. Don't try to take this journey by yourself. Study with somebody. Study with somebody else. Give one little quick anecdote. About 30 years ago, a professor at UC Berkeley who was teaching calculus, he had all these high GPA students at Berkeley. Berkeley is very competitive. And he noted that the Asian students were doing better than the African-American students. And he says, I wonder why. So he followed them when they left his class. It wasn't research, it was just experience. He's looking at anecdotally what's going on. When the Asian students left the class, they went to the library and began to study. When the black students left the class, where do you think they went? Some people say, well, they went to the student union to play cards. That's not what they did. They went to the library too, to study. So what was the difference between the Asian students doing much better than the African-American students? It wasn't genetics. What it was a culture of commitment to community learning. The Asian students studied together in a group. The black students studied alone. Why were the black students studying alone? And that doesn't just apply to black students. Why were they studying alone? Because that's how they got to Berkeley in the first place. They had to do it alone because they didn't have a community group of academic camaraderie. They played ball together, did all kind of stuff together. So did I when I grew up. I was a baseball player, basketball player. All my buddies were my buddies. My mother told me, don't bring them home. They're not academically going where you're going. And they were we were all great ball players. You know, I guess the older I get, the greater I used to be. But they didn't make it academically. Thank God I had parents that said, no, George, this is what you're going to do and you don't have a choice. So you may have to avoid some people or find some other people like yourselves who are sitting with you and study with them. And wherever, if you're coming here or wherever you're going, bring somebody with you. It's hard to be alone all by yourself, especially when you're of color and you're in a university with a lot of prestige and you're feeling left out. Don't feel left out because you're able to be competitive. Don't let anybody tell you you can't compete. How far away is it to this hospital? How far away is it to this hospital? Which was the same thing I asked the students at Manual Arts. How far away is USC? And I asked the students, how far away is UCLA? And they said, well, it's 3 miles this way. 2 miles. You know how far away it is? You know how far away this university is? It's as far away as your GPA. That's what will get you here, because there are people in Hawaii that will get here before you do if you don't have the grade point average. So it's up to you. Your high school, there's only one shot at high school. You don't get to come back when you're 30 years old. You can come back to community college. You cannot come back to high school. It's the most critical time of your life. Pay attention to it. Give it all you got. And I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate all the supporters. And I definitely appreciate this university. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.